Welcome to another episode of Just Talk with Joe Meyer, the vlog edition. Thank you for being here with me once again as we kick off another episode and welcome. It's been a couple weeks. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Thank you for being here with me. And I know the conversation can go in all directions, right? when we're here just talking about anything. And I like to think that when I'm here with you guys, anyone who's listening, we're just sitting on a nice comfy couch chatting about things of our life, our day, our thoughts. Something that I think that oftentimes we don't do today, right? Oftentimes we're so busy with our phones, texting, messaging, that we forget the importance of just having a good old-fashioned conversation. Right? Sitting down, talking, right? And not necessarily doing anything like drinking or drugs, which hopefully none of you do any out there, but realistically, I understand that people do that. I'm sorry to say. I'm not a drug user. I don't use drugs. I don't even drink, to be honest with you. It's something that I never liked to be honest. You won't find beer in my fridge, right? No, nothing against those of you out there who drink beer or who have the occasional cocktail or even daily cocktail. That's not me. It's not a practice that I practice, and I'll tell you why. Right? Growing up, I grew up in a very somewhat abusive, verbally abusive household, I'll say. Not really physical in a sense, but I'll explain what I mean. So growing up with mom, sister, and grandfather, who I refer to as the devil, right? He's passed on by now. He died in 2016. And he was a horrible man to me and my mom and sister. He would drink every day. Miller was his beer of choice, and when I got to age, he would have me go buy his beer for him, right? Before I was 21, he would have me drive him to the store so he could pick up his beer, or he would walk to the corner store and get his case of beer, right? And he would easily polish that off very quickly, probably in a night or two, right? So he was drinking all the time. And because of who he was, just the awful man that he was, and I'm sure he's burning in hell right now, he would act drunk, obviously, but he would obviously be drinking for many years. He drank for most of his life, probably. And that's one of the reasons I got a huge distaste for alcohol and drinking. We didn't have any drugs in the house. He didn't smoke, although when he was younger, he said he used to smoke cigarettes. But I never felt the need. Well, I'm lying. In high school, I tried it, and to be cool, there was a girl in high school that I really liked, and her name was Ruth, and she always hung around with what we used to call them the druggies, right? And these were kids in high school with me. I didn't really know them. I only know Ruth. That would go out and smoke, do drugs. I never was around them with drugs. It was just cigarettes, and we'd go to the table and smoke cigarettes, or it would be after school or something, and that was my rebellious side for that point in my life. And then I stopped. Right? It wasn't something I'm proud of. I actually even fessed up to my mother, that I would trade my lunch money to have somebody buy them for me. And this was something that I worked. It's a nasty habit, and it still baffles me today that people still smoke the cancer sticks, right? And it even baffles me even further that people think that vaping is completely harmless, right? When it really does have nicotine in it. Many of those people who vape probably could care less that they're just hurting their lungs and destroying them in the process. And some would say, well, no, that's never going to happen. I'm fine. Nothing will happen to my lungs. I'm healthy. And you know what? The same goes for marijuana. I absolutely despise or hate the smell of marijuana. The reason I hate it so much is, one, because we live in an apartment building and people smoke it around here and you smell it early in the morning. You see puffs of smoke in different places, and also when I drive down the street, you just get hit with a stench of marijuana. And I hate it. I hate the fact that we in California legalize it here, and it's also legalized in other states, not federally legalized, which who knows if that will ever happen. But regardless, states legalize it, right? And it's something that I hate. So that's why I'm not a big fan of drinking. Early in my college years, early 20s, that's when I got that out of my system. And really never fucking wanted to do that. I feel like alcohol has the ability to just completely screw your life up. Right? And I'm not gonna do that. There's other ways to screw up one's life without drinking, using drugs. And these are things that I will partake or pass down to my daughter, because I want her to be doing those things as well. Obviously, when kids grow of a certain age, you can't control them. You can't watch them. I just hope that my daughter will see that these are things that I don't want her doing, because generally they're not good for her. Right? There's a lot of things that are not good for us that we do anyways, right? So thinking about those things, I don't know what got me on the topic of drinking drugs and marijuana, but it's just thinking about today, thinking about our society, thinking about the things that I feel, in all honesty, our society is just imploding itself and destroying itself, right? Something that I feel very passionate about is obesity, right? And this is a topic I see more and more often in the news, in the media, that people are just finding that it's perfectly okay, right? You have many celebrities, especially influencers, who promote obesity, who promote unhealthy lifestyles. Now, I have to be careful, because I'm not perfect, as you can see. I'm not a $150, right? I'm not thin. If I could say I would consider myself average, but yeah, you know what? I was much thinner about a year ago. I probably gained about 10-15 pounds. But after my major weight loss in 2022 or 21 and then 22, some of the weight came back, and it's not because I overeat or I pig out or I eat unhealthy things. I am pretty consistent with things I eat today. Right? You could even say they're quite boring. Right? I try to mimic in a way, like a bodybuilder, like kind of style. I eat a lot of chicken. I eat some rice, but I'm not a big fan of rice. I try to eat things like sweet potatoes. I try to eat veggies. I try to eat fruits. But I also love sweet things. And that's not to say I eat a lot of sweet things every day. I don't eat a bunch of candy. Chips is not really a favorite of mine. I'm not really a chip eater. I snack sometimes, but I usually eat things like this. This one I always get at Target, but just to show you, it's called Cocoa Nuts, and it's this one. And it has cashews, coconut macaroon flavored with almonds, semi-sweet chocolate chunks, and dried coconut. That's one of the things I eat. And then I love coffee. This one's actually, it's a grounded chocolate iced almond milk espresso, shaken espresso. So I like those. Those are my favorite. I also like caramel macchiatos, but iced and hot. Not really a big hot drink person, although I drink coffee in the morning. But what I do is I do track my calorie intake. I do track what I eat. I do seriously watch it on a regular basis. So I eat about 1,500 calories a day. There are days that I go a little bit over, and then on the weekends I try to be a little bit more free. That doesn't mean I eat 3,000 calories or 4,000. I'm talking about usually I go a little bit over, like I'll go like 1,700 calories for instance, or 1,800. But take in consideration that I do exercise daily, about 6 days a week, so that there is that constant presence of exercise. So it's not like I'm just sitting down and eating all day. But I have my favorites like anybody else. I'm not a big fan of eating pizza all the time. I love Mexican food, I love Chinese, but I'm pretty consistent with what I eat on a daily basis. And I try to. It's hard because growing up, fast food was obviously around like it is today. It's even more around today than it was when I was a child. And these are things that I know people struggle with. But this is a subject that I see often in the news when it comes to obesity, and especially celebrities who promote the health style or the lifestyle of, you know what, just love yourself, whether you're fat, skinny, whatever. And I'm not against loving yourself, respecting yourself. What I am kind of against is that a lot of these celebrities promote lifestyles that are unhealthy, that they don't really tell you the effects that an unhealthy lifestyle will lead to possibly heart disease, early death. And the reason I know this is because I have, in my family, we struggle with our weight. Especially, I had an aunt who in 2006 passed away, and she struggled with her obesity. I loved her. She was a wonderful woman. She was about 46 years old. She died of cirrhosis, right? And society just treated her like garbage because of her weight. They treated her like nothing, like she was of no value. And people would mistreat her at work. And I remember specifically one time many years ago when she was alive, she would tell me about a time, and she was very upset about this, that one time she was at work and one of her coworkers reported her to HR and her manager because they stated that she smelled bad. She smelled bad, and she bathes every day, right? Now, something I've noticed about people, and this is just generally my observation, so don't be offended, it's just what I've noticed, but I've noticed that some people who are heavily overweight or obese have a unique odor to them. I'm not saying they smell bad, maybe they're not aware of it, maybe they are aware of it, maybe they just can't help it. But I often think that it's because oftentimes those individuals have those extra layers of skin that sweat and create an odor, right? And it carries me. And I've noticed that sometimes, it's not all the time, but I've noticed when there's a person that I come in contact with, maybe I don't know them, that could be in the store, could be in the supermarket, and they're heavily overweight or obese, and they have that odor around. And it's very strong sometimes. I have a very sensitive nose, and it bothers me, but I'm not offensive. I'm not going to tell them you smell, or I'm not. I would never say that to anybody. I have to remember one thing about myself is that I'm not perfect. I'm flawed. like every one of us. There's no such thing as a perfect person out there. Only God is perfect. He is perfect. But we are flawed. We are flawed to the utmost degree, whether it's physically, mentally, um, emotionally. We're flawed people. One of the things that really concerns me about today's society is just the amount of mental health that I see it's depreciating our society quickly. We have a mental health problem in this country. And although we like to think that, oh, well, there's plenty of resources out there, there's doctors, there's hotlines, there's resources online, there's medication for people to get help. It's really not always enough. There are people out there that they are struggling. They are struggling and they're reaching out for help. And I know this because I am one of those people, not that I'm asking for help, but I know what it feels like to reach for help and it not be there, right? That when you're going through a mental hardship, when you're struggling, when you're trying to live your life to the best of your ability and society tells you you're nothing, that you're worthless, right? I often think, and I've been, I equate a lot of my thought process to things I read, to things I write, to things I watch on TV. And I was thinking about, I was watching the show Billions, right, the other day. And I binge watched it. Fantastic show. Has Maggie Stiff, Damian Lewis, and Paul Giamatti, right? 3 main characters, right? And it's really like what it sounds like. It's called Billions, right? Because there's Paul Giamatti, he's the U.S. attorney. Maggie Stiff is his wife, right? And if you don't know who Maggie Stiff is, she's from Anarchy. And then there's Damian Lewis, who's in Homeland. So they're fantastic actors. And obviously Paul Giamatti, who doesn't know him in a way. But it's really about Paul Giamatti's character, who's a U.S. attorney. He is going after Damian Lewis, who is a hedge fund billionaire, right? And trying to just bring him down, right? And it goes a little bit into the story of, or goes very much into, the story of Damian Lewis's character. His last name is Max, right? And how he came up into the hedge fund world and the investment world and became a billionaire. And he doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, do any illegal things. He does some, in my opinion, unethical things, but they're not really illegal. They're things that most of us probably wouldn't do, but he can get away with it in a way because he's wealthy. And he has lawyers to protect him. And it's a good story. It's a good show because it kind of goes into detail about the life of those who we protect and we uplift in society. Right? So the reason we uplift these people is because oftentimes these people are wealthy. They're highly educated, meaning they've come from Ivy League schools. And I think about this today, that oftentimes society treats those individuals as higher value individuals than other people who don't go to those colleges or universities, right? And we have a problem here because oftentimes this can affect people's mental health, right? This can affect the ability for people to feel like they have value in this world. And when people don't go to those colleges or universities, or even college at all, some people feel like they're not valuable, that they're worthless. And this can lead to major mental health problems, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor, right? I'm only an observer, a watcher. But this is what I see today, that people are struggling to feel like they have a value in a world that will never consider them valuable. You know what? The only person that would ever consider them or us valuable is God. Jesus, right? Jesus loves us, right? Now, for many of you out there who may not be believers in Jesus or God, there is someone who loves you. And it may not be your mom or dad, it may not be your brothers or sisters, it may not be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your loved ones, but Jesus will love you no matter what. And because he created us, right? He created us. The problem is that oftentimes people are looking for things that will give them no love back. People, things, possessions, money. And it's unfortunate that people tend to drive themselves sometimes literally crazy over the fact that they don't have these things. Money is one of those areas that can literally, I believe, drive people crazy by a lack of it sometimes, by having too much. And we live in a very, I'll say it like this, we live a very gluttonous world today, especially in the United States, where we are fat. Sometimes literally, but we are fat with things, right? We have a lot. We have more things than most people have in their own country, right? And you know, that's part of the reason that I think many countries dislike the United States so much is the fact that we have so much. Now, some of you may say, well, you know, what's wrong with that? Nothing necessarily. Nothing necessarily with having things to living a good life. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is that in our society, we take it for granted. We think it's always going to be here. And it's not. The thing is, people get so wrapped up in things that the most important thing that's going to happen to them in their life is we're all going to die one day. And our souls will go to somewhere, to eternity, either heaven or hell, whether you believe it or not. Right? And when we die, if we focus on money, wealth, power, and we have no relationship with God or Jesus, we're going to hell. We're going to hell. And some people don't like that response because people don't want to be told that you're going to hell. You know? Because people will say, well, I just don't believe in it. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in heaven or hell. Okay, well, you may not believe in it, but it exists. And some would say, well, you say it exists, but I don't feel it does. Well, I guess whoever doesn't believe in heaven or hell or Jesus is going to find out one day, aren't they? Right? You know? I don't want to find out. I know where my soul is going. Right? But back to what I was saying, is that oftentimes we in society are in a downturn. That people's mental health is really destroying us from within. And it's sad to what I've seen or observed lately, like just people ending their lives. People you would think that would have everything, that have no reason to do it. But the problem is, from the outside, when we look at those people that have everything, things that we want, things that we would love to have, right? And they just go kill themselves. People that have so much wealth that you would think they could just take that money and go live a good life. They don't even have to any longer contribute to society in a sense. They don't have to do things anymore like we do. Most of us have to go to work every day to survive, to pay the bills, to pay the mortgage, to pay the rent. But many of those people who kill themselves can't go live off somewhere else, and nobody's gonna bother them because they have plenty of money. Money, one would say money is the root of all evil, but it's really, money, I always tell my students, is money is a tool. Money is a tool that's used to help us in this life. But people turn it into their God. Right? Money is their God. Because yes, money can buy a lot. Money, people can say, can't buy happiness, but probably it can buy security, can buy things, can buy a house, can buy nice cars, can take you on nice vacations, can let you see the world, give you a peace of mind that not everybody has. Especially if you're a multi-millionaire or billionaire, right? You don't have to worry about money over it. But there are people that struggle each day with trying to feed themselves, with trying to pay their bills, with trying to live each day, coming closer and closer to the edge. And oftentimes they see that edge and they just jump. Sometimes literally, because they don't want to deal with that. It's hard to deal with that. For instance, right? Just online here, who recently died, and I'm thinking about Kelly Pickler's husband. His name was Kyle Jacobs. He's 49 years old, right? Apparently committed suicide the other day. He was a well-known songwriter, producer in country music. Right? Worked with many big stars, Tim McGraw, Kelly Clarkson, many big ones. And had a beautiful. He wasn't married. He was married. Excuse me, Kelly Pickler. They didn't have any kids. It looked like they had a nice life in Tennessee. And one to the head, right? And it's, obviously I don't know who this man is, but it seems like it's a trend that's happening. I mean, it's nothing new that artists kill themselves. You look at Chester Benningfield of Linkin Park, Chris Cornell, Soundgarden, and Audioslave. Right? You have people like Robin Williams, right? Stephen Twitch Boss, who in December killed himself. He was on the Ellen DeGeneres show. What's going on today, people? What is it? These are people that obviously have everything that we really want, but apparently they don't have everything. There's something missing in there. Now, some people like to think of conspiracies like, oh, maybe somebody forced them to kill themselves. No. And it's terrible that people have to struggle with this, right? I don't know. I've never met these people. I can only imagine that these people, like Kelly Pickler and her past husband Kyle Jacobs, were somebody who had everything: money, fame, wealth, power. Yet, and what does that tell us about society? It tells us that people are inherently broken because there's things that they don't have in this life. Now, I don't know if he was a lover of Jesus or God, Who knows? And it's not everybody, but when you have wealth and power and someone who's very public like this, many of those individuals feel like they have no need for Jesus or God because they have everything that this world has to offer them. Yet when they die, they go straight to hell. Now, one thing that I think about is, those people who know Jesus, who know God, and they end their life, like many pastors who struggle mentally. It's not easy. Like the one I think of today is his name was Jared Wilson. He was a pastor at Harvest Church in Riverside. A very well-known, mental health. I guess you could say mental health advocate, pastor, He struggled. He was, I think, in his 30s. Had a beautiful wife, kids. I mean, he was. It really bothers me to see that. Now, I love my family. I love my wife and daughter. You know, and I'm not perfect. I'm not them. I don't want to compare myself to those people. But when I look at myself and I look at, let's say, someone like Jared Wilson, people I could see automatically probably loved him just based on who he was as a person. They didn't even know him. Because you see the pictures online and you're just like, wow, what does this man have to be complaining about? I mean, you know, first of all, he's Caucasian, right? And from a man's perspective, handsome, good-looking guy, young, beautiful wife. And not that my wife's not beautiful, of course she is. Beautiful wife, beautiful kids. I think they had like 2 or 3 kids, and they were young too. They looked like young kids. And that was it. And then there was another pastor in Chino Hills who did that. He was a senior pastor. Again, beautiful family, married, 2 or 3 kids. And that's it. And it goes to show you that men and women, we're broken. We're broken people. We have struggles, and oftentimes people want those struggles to go away. They want to end the pain. And what baffles me today is that, yes, we have hotlines that help people prevent doing the major step of ending their life. But do people really care about you and I, about people who struggle with mental health? Yes, we have families that do. And it's really true that if people really want to end their life, they're going to do it anyways. It really is true. A hotline is not going to do anything. It may prevent them from the day or the moment that they're going to do it. But one day they're going to go back and do it again. There's nothing preventing them from doing it. And because inherently there's something in them that they're missing. And it's not a person, it's not love. It's really a love for themselves. And I'm honest to say, do I love myself? I love myself to a certain degree, but I love my family more. That I'm willing to stay here for them and support them and make sure they're going to be okay. Even if that means that I hurt myself with struggles mentally or physically or whatever. I want them to be okay. But oftentimes it's hard. The main difference between me and these people that recently, like celebrities who kill themselves, is their families are going to be okay financially. Yeah, it's going to be hard to get over the fact that there's going to be that missing piece of that person. But at the end of the day, they wake up in their nice home. They wake up with money in their bank account. They wake up knowing that they're going to be okay in their own way. There are many people who struggle and who don't have that. I'm an average Joe, which means if I was ever to do that, even if I was to do it today, for instance, my family would probably be okay, but they would surely struggle even more so because they don't have everything. We're not millionaires. Again, this is kind of a morbid topic because no one wants to hear this. These are the conversations that people should be having with family and friends and loved ones. Because these are kind of the thoughts that go through my head on a daily basis. I'm not saying I think about doing something to myself, so don't think that. It's more about thinking about what others go through, what they struggle with today in society, and the thing about it is that society is only getting worse. You know? It's unfortunate that people are struggling like And there's no fix for it. I do see that things are getting worse in society, in whatever society you live in. There's a lack of compassion, a lack of care, a lack of empathy towards people today, a lack of civility, especially in the United States. Right? People are uncivil towards one another. People show a lack of care or kindness. You know why? Because a big part of that is society has taught people that we should just care about ourselves. Just worry about yourselves. Don't worry about other people. Don't worry about your fellow man, woman, child. That's not your problem. Just worry about your own security, your own life. Forget them. Forget them. That's not my words, people. That's society. That's a problem we have today. I often tell my wife that we are Rome, people. We are Rome. The Roman Empire was, when it existed, was the most powerful empire it existed in the world before it crumbled and imploded internally. We are very similar to Rome, and they are our example, in my opinion, of what will happen to our country one day. Right? That's if Jesus doesn't come back soon, if we're allowed for it to happen, which is quite possible that we will crumble from within. Hopefully I'm not living at that time, because I don't want to see that. Hopefully my family is not living to see that, because I wouldn't want to live through that. There'd be anarchy. I think we're one step away from anarchy in this country, where people feel the need to try to just feel that it's okay to destroy things. It's okay to destroy your country. It's okay to badmouth people. It's okay to be uncivil towards one another, and you see it everywhere. That's why I try not to watch politics, because it's very disheartening. It's very infuriating to see how people treat one another. People that you elect, slinging trash towards each other, insults, injuries, setting the model for how we should treat one another. And believe me when I say that, they are the role model, so to speak. Although the real role model should be following is Jesus or God. But oftentimes people don't. I do have a devotional. Let's see, for today, right? Let's see. Get ready. February 19th, right? It's called Confident Living. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct you. Proverbs 3:5-6. There's something very common about repeating the words of scriptures aloud. Those who know Proverbs 3:5-6 know the power of saying to themselves, trust in the Lord with all your heart. When you can't understand the crisis or solve the problem, you can say, trust in the Lord with all your heart. When you can't bear the pain or withstand the pressure, you can remind yourself to trust in the Lord with all your heart. When the devil is relentless and attacking, you can calm your nerves by repeating Proverbs 3:5-6. What does it mean to lean not on your own understanding? Well, sometimes we can't figure things out on our own. At certain moments in life, we have no answers, but we can acknowledge Jesus as Lord of all the accidents and incidents of life. He can open doors, solve issues, resolve problems, and guide us step by step. He can direct our paths. You can confidently trust him with all of your heart. And again, this is from Strength for Today. This is an older version, but it's from David Jeremiah. So I appreciate all of you out there coming out, listening to me. These are my words, unfiltered. And I'm getting shorter in what I'm saying, so I'm condensing what I want to say. But ultimately, I want to take this time to thank all of you on another Just Talk with Joe Meyer, the vlog edition. I think I got what I wanted to say out of my system. And thank you for being here once again. And I look forward to more talks coming up. We're about to end February soon. I know it's still early, but we're already on February 19th. And I imagine this year is just going to fly by. I'm probably, before you know it, will be December again. But I just want to wish all of you a great weekend. And I guess you could consider this Sunday thoughts, right? One of the things I encourage all of you out there is to be kind to one another, respect one another, be giving, be kind, read the Bible for guidance, be a believer. Now, I'm not here to convert any of you out there who's reading this or watching this, but I'm here to tell you that there are good, incredible things that you can learn from the Bible. Just pick it up and start somewhere, anywhere, or pick up an app, right? There are many apps out there that will have the Bible already embedded in them that you can just read daily, right? That's what I need to do more. Read the Bible. I am not no expert on the Bible, but I am familiar with the Bible. I've read through it. I know scriptures. And it's something that I know that I can't live without. It gets me through those times in my life that I struggle. So thank you all for being out there. I just want you guys to know out there that life is good right now, in a sense. No complaints, I should say. Family's healthy. Although I'm thinking about something, I'm going to have some minor surgery around March 20th. They're going to put me under some minor anesthesia for about 45 minutes, something that I'm not looking forward to. I'm actually kind of scared about the procedure, not because I'm fearful of something's going to happen, but I'm more fear of the fact that they're going to cut me, and I'm going to have stitches, and in all of my 43 years in life, I've never had really anything like that. Other than when I went to the dentist, which I guess you could consider it almost the same thing. I had stitches in my mouth, and I was put under anesthesia when I had my wisdom tooth taken out many years ago. But that wasn't too bad. But this is on a different part of my body. It's on the outer part of my body. Something I'm scared of. And I'm going to be out of commission in the sense, not being able to do any strenuous activity for at least 6 weeks. Which means like my gym time's not going to be there, and that's really going to bother me but I could still walk around, and I still have to go to work. I'm not missing work. I'm maybe just missing a day of surgery and possibly the day after, because I'll be the day after and I'll be probably sore or in pain, and I just won't be myself. But anyways, I'll let all of you know when we get closer to that day, right? But thank you for being here with me, listening to me rant and rave, and hopefully this talk was enlightening to give you a better glimpse of who I am, into my mind, what I think about, and hopefully you know that it's okay to feel these things. But you should talk to somebody, family, friends, therapist, anybody who's going to listen, right? If you're struggling, and just know life is a gift. You are unique, you are beautiful in your own right, and I believe that. I tell my students that all the time, because oftentimes people need to hear it sometimes. I don't always hear it myself, in a sense, so it's not that my family doesn't tell me. They tell me I'm important, they show me, but sometimes it's good to hear it sometimes, because sometimes we let life pass us by so quickly that we forget to tell people, the ones that we love, and especially those around us, how special they are. So, thank you for being with me once again. God bless all of you out there, and have a great weekend. Thank you.